गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जो की जाय निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्रुत रक्षित स्मर भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्रुत रक्षित स्मर भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्रुत रक्षित स्मर भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय निखिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्रुत रक्षित स्मर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव साई श्रील भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशतर शतस्मर भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्रील गोक्षरस बाबूजी महाराज की जाय नितिल प्रविष्ट श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्रील जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जाय श्री रूपनु गौरिया गुरु वार्ग की जाय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय नाम चाय श्रीहरस ठाकुर की जाय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जाय श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जाय श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जाय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जाय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। धन्यवाद प्रणाम माधवी दीदी, रूपमंजरी दीदी, Gargaraji, Indira Mataji, Rohit Radhakrishnanji, Hari Bol. One second. Okay, so yesterday, let's see. Okay, so there's a story of Nabhaga, and then Nabhaga's son, Ambarīṣa Mahārāja. We read about his opulence, and also his detachment. He had everything, but he's completely detached from everything. And Ambarīṣa's Krishna consciousness, his ideal rule, his sacrifices, and the citizens, all the citizens were also very pure. Ambarīṣa performed Dvadashi Vrat in Mathura and worshipped Krishna. And he welcomed Durvāsā Muni. And then, let's just start from here, 37. Okay, so Ambarīṣa and his queen, who was equally qualified, observed the vow of Akadashi and Dvadashi at Mathura for 1 year to worship Lord Krishna. Thereafter, in the Kartik month, Ambarīṣa fasted for 3 nights and bathed in the Yamuna river. Then at Madhuban, he worshipped Krishna by Maha-Abhishek. He offered clothing, ornaments, and garlands. He also worshipped the Brahmins by donating decorated cows and feeding them fine foods. With their permission, as he was about to break his Akadashi fast, powerful Durvāsā appeared there as an uninvited guest. Ambarīṣa welcomed Durvāsā Muni respectfully. Sitting at the sage's feet, Ambarīṣa requested him to eat. Durvāsā gladly agreed to eat, but he would first go to the Yamuna to bathe, meditate, and perform his rituals. In the meantime, only a muhurta of the Dvadashi day was left. In a dilemma, Ambarīṣa consulted the Brahmins. Disrespecting Brahmins is an offense, and not breaking fast within the Paran time is a flaw in the Akadashi vow. So if it is auspicious and not irreligious, I shall break my fast by drinking water, which may be accepted as eating and also as not eating. Thus Ambarīṣa drank some water and waited for Durvāsā Muni while meditating on the Supreme Lord. Durvāsā returned from the Yamuna after his noon rituals. Ambarīṣa received him well, but Durvāsā, by his mystic power, understood that Ambarīṣa had drunk water. Durvāsā angrily criticized Ambarīṣa. Alas, see the transgression of this cruel non-devotee intoxicated with wealth, who thinks himself God. He has invited me to eat as a guest, but he eat him first. I shall now show him the result of this misbehavior. Durvāsā created a fiery demon by uprooting a bunch of hair. Resembling the blazing fire of devastation, the demon came before Ambarīṣa holding a trident. But Ambarīṣa was not at all disturbed. It did not move slightly from his position. The Sudarśana Cakra burnt the fiery demon to ashes immediately, just as forest fire burns to ashes an angry snake. The Lord Hari himself had previously ordered the chakra to protect his devotee in danger, out of affection for his devotee. Durvāsā was frightened, seeing that his attempts had failed and that the Sudarśana Cakra was pursuing him like the blazing flames of a forest fire, almost touching his back. Durvāsā ran swiftly, desiring to enter a cave of Mount Sumeru. Durvāsā fled in all directions, to the sky, earth, caves, ocean, different planets, and even in heaven. But wherever he went, the Sudarśana Cakra followed him. Finding no shelter anywhere, Durvāsā approached Lord Brahma, seeking protection. Brahma told Durvāsā, "At the end of my life, Lord Vishnu, who has the form of time, just by a flick of his eyebrows, vanquishes the entire universe, including all planets. I, Shiva, Daksha, Bhrigu, the sages, the Prajapatis, and the rulers of the Devatas, all of us surrender to Vishnu, whose orders we carry out for the benefit of all jivas. So I cannot protect you, since you have offended his devotee." When thus refused by Brahma, Durvāsā to take shelter of Shiva and Kailas. Shiva told Durvāsā, I, Brahma, and other demigods wander in bewilderment within the innumerable universes that are created and destroyed by the Supreme Lord Vishnu. We cannot compete with him. Although I, Sanat Kumar, Narad, Brahma, Kapila, Vyasadeva, Devala, Yamaraj, Asuris, the sages headed by Marichi, and many other perfected beings know the past, present, and future, we cannot know the Lord's Maya because we are covered by that Maya. You should go to Lord Vishnu to get relief, for this Sudarśana Cakra is intolerable even for us. He will bestow all good fortune. Being disappointed, Durvāsā went to Vaikuntha and fell at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Scorched by the heat of the Sudarśana Cakra, he spoke, O Achyuta, Ananta, O Lord, desired by saintly persons, O well-wisher of the universe, O supreme controller, not knowing your unlimited prowess, I have offended your dear devotee. Please protect me from the reaction. Your holy name can deliver even a person who is fit for going to hell. In the following verses, Lord Vishnu describes his intimate relationship with his devotees and expressed his inability and disinclination to save Durvāsā. The independent Lord, although the Lord is fully independent, but his own sweet will has become dependent on his devotees. Lord Vishnu told Durvāsā, just as Brahma and Shiva cannot save you because they are dependent on me, I can save you because I am also dependent on my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Hyasvatantra iva dvijaha. Indeed, I am not at all independent, O Brahman. Sadhubir grasta hridayo. My heart is controlled by the pure devotees, because their hearts are completely devoid of material desires. Bhaktar bhakta janapriya. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. If one sincerely serves a devotee or guru, the Lord becomes favorable to such a person. Therefore, the following instruction of a devotee is more valuable than following the Lord's instructions directly. Lord Vishnu said, devotees don't even desire liberation if I offer it. So I forcefully give my own heart to them, and they fix it in their hearts. Therefore, my mercy exists in their mercy. The Lord cannot enjoy without devotees. I do not desire to enjoy my own transcendental bliss without the devotees who take shelter of me alone. Neither do I enjoy my 6 great opulences, O Brahman. For my devotees, I am the only destination. Durvāsā spoke to Lord Vishnu. You are affectionate to the Brahmins as well. Therefore, do not ignore me, a Brahman. Then Lord says, devotees give up their wives, homes, children, relatives, riches, and even their lives simply to serve me, with no material desire in this life or the next. How can I give up such devotees at any time? Devotees completely control the Lord. Devotees are fully attached to me within their hearts. Such devotees are equal to everyone. Thus they bring me under their full control, just as chaste women control their gentle husbands. Always satisfied in my loving service, my devotees are not interested even in the 4 types of liberation, although these are automatically achieved by their service. What then is to be said of any perishable happiness? Sadhavo hridayam mahyam. A devotee is always in the core of my heart. Sadhunam hridayam tvaham. And I am always in the heart of my pure devotee. Madanyate najanati. My devotees do not know anything else but me. Naham tebhyo managapi. And I do not know anyone else but them. Wow, there's a whole conversation here. Let's just read this, right? The Lord's feelings are like those of a father who feels pain when his child is in pain. Therefore, offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee are serious. The mad elephant offense. So there's a conversation. Lord Vishnu told Durvāsā, the devotees are in my heart. By trying to afflict my devotee, Ambarīṣa, you have afflicted my heart, Durvāsā. If I have offended you, then I fall at your feet for forgiveness. Vishnu, not me. Go and please Ambarīṣa. I am in the devotee's heart. When his heart is pleased, I am pleased. Durvāsā. But don't you see his fault? He invited me, but he ate before feeding me. Vishnu. They do not know anything except me. Ambarīṣa does what I desire him to do. Durvāsā. Between a Brahmin and a Dvadashi, which is more respectable as dharma? Vishnu. You are so ignorant of the conclusions of the scriptures on dharma. Go and ask Ambarīṣa. He will teach you. Since the Shruti says that drinking water is both eating and not eating, Ambarīṣa has equally respected the Brahman and the Dvadashi. And also, Gurudev would explain that what do you put Akadashi is Bhakti Janani. She's the mother of Bhakti. She is Bhakti, and so what do you put as being higher? Respect. Do you put Bhakti or proper Varnashram Dharma, respecting Brahmins? By offending Ambarīṣa, you have acted with self-envy. Go immediately to Ambarīṣa for your own protection. One's prowess employed against a devotee certainly harms the person who employs it. Durvāsā might ask, how is it possible that a kshatriya like Ambarīṣa is capable of delivering me, a Brahman, endowed with austerity and knowledge? And the response is, for a Brahman, austerity and learning are certainly auspicious, but when acquired by a person who is not gentle and has bad conduct, they are dangerous and give opposite results. You should go to Ambarīṣa and satisfy him, and then you will attain peace. I wish all good fortune unto you. So the lesson from Ambarīṣa's story, all the demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, are under the control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, when an offender is punished by Vishnu, no one can protect that person, not even Brahma or Shiva, or the Lord himself. Durvāsā Muni's life is spared. Haribol Pujamna Prabhu and Mantarmurti Mataji and Savitri Didi. Haribol. Whoa, there's a whole conversation going on in here. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me go to the chapter 1 second. Durvāsā Muni's life spared. Chapter 5. In this chapter we find Mahārāja Ambarīṣa offering prayers to the Sudarśana Cakra, and we find out how the Sudarśana Cakra became merciful to Durvāsā Muni. By the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, Durvāsā Muni immediately went to Mahārāja Ambarīṣa and fell at his lotus feet. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa, being naturally very humble and meek, felt shy and ashamed because Durvāsā Muni had fallen at his feet, and thus he began to offer prayers to the Sudarśana Cakra just to save Durvāsā. What is the Sudarśana Cakra? The Sudarśana Cakra is the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by which he creates the entire material world. Sa akshata, sa asarjata. This is the Vedic version. The Sudarśana Cakra is the origin of creation and is most dear to the Lord, has thousands of spokes. This Sudarśana Cakra is the killer of the prowess of all other weapons, the killer of darkness, and the manifester of the prowess of devotional service. It is the means of establishing religious principles, and it is the killer of all irreligious activities. Without his mercy, the universe cannot be maintained, and therefore the Sudarśana Cakra is employed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Mahārāja Ambarīṣa thus prayed to the Sudarśana Cakra to be merciful, the Sudarśana Cakra, being appeased, refrains from killing Durvāsā Muni, who thus achieved the Sudarśana Cakra's mercy. Durvāsā Muni thus learns to give up the nasty idea of considering a Vaishnava an ordinary person, Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa belongs to the Kshatriya group, and therefore Durvāsā Muni considered him lower than the Brahmins, and wanted to exercise Brahminical power against him. By this incident, everyone should learn how to stop mischievous ideas of neglecting Vaishnavas. After this incident, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa gave Durvāsā Muni sumptuous food to eat, and then the king, who had been standing in the same place for 1 year without eating anything, also took prasad. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa later divided his property among his sons and went to the bank of Manas Sarovar to execute devotional meditation. Shri Shukla Uvacha Evam Bhagavatādishto Durvāsā Cakra Pita Ambarīṣam Upavritya Tatpado Dukhito Grahit. Shukadev Goswami said, when thus advised by the Lord Vishnu, Durvāsā Muni, who was very much harassed by the Sudarśana Cakra, immediately approached Mahārāja Ambarīṣa. Being very much aggrieved, the Muni fell down and clasped the king's lotus feet. Tasya sodyamamaviksha padasparsha vilajita astavit tadharer astram kripaya pidito sham. When Durvāsā touched his lotus feet, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was very much ashamed, and when he saw Durvāsā attempting to offer prayers, because of mercy, he was aggrieved even more. Thus he immediately began offering prayers to the great weapon of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ambarīṣa Uvacha Tvam Agnir Bhagavan Suryas Tvam Samo Jyotisham Pati Tvam Apas Tvam Kshitir Vyoma Vayur Matrendriyani Cha. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa said, O Sudarśana Cakra, you are fire, you are the most powerful sun, and you are the moon, the master of all luminaries. You are water, earth, and sky. You are the air. You are the 5 sense objects, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. And you are the senses also. Sudarshana namastubhyam sahasrara chuta priya sarvastra ghatim vipraya swasti bhuya idaspate. O most favorite of Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have thousands of spokes. O Master of the material world, destroyer of all weapons, original vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Kindly give shelter and be auspicious to this Brahman. Tvam dharmas tvam ritam satyam tvam yagyo kila yagya bhuk tvam loka palasarvatma tvam teja porusham param. O Sudarshan wheel, you are religion, you are truth, you are encouraging statements, you are sacrifice, and you are the enjoyer of the fruits of sacrifice. You are the maintainer of the entire universe, and you are the supreme transcendental prowess in the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the original vision of the Lord, and therefore you are known as Sudarshan. Everything has been created by your activities, and therefore you are all-pervading. Purport. The word Sudarshan means auspicious vision. From Vedic instructions, we understand that this material world is created by the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sa aikshata sa asarjata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead glanced over the Mahat Tattva, or the total material energy, and when it was agitated, everything came into existence. Western philosophers sometimes think that the original cause of creation was a chunk that exploded. If one thinks of this chunk as the total material energy, the Mahat Tattva, one can understand that the chunk was agitated by the glance of the Lord, and thus the Lord's glance is the original cause of material creation. Namasuna bhakila dharma setave ya dharma shila suradhuma ketave trailokya gopaya vishuddha varchase mano javayad bhuta karmane grine. O Sudarshan, you have a very auspicious hub, and therefore you are the upholder of all religion. You are just like an inauspicious comet for the irreligious demons. Indeed, you are the maintainer of the 3 worlds. You are full of transcendental effulgence. You are as quick as the mind, and you are able to work wonders. I can simply utter the word Nama, offering all obeisances unto you. Purport. The disc of the Lord is called Sudarshan because he does not discriminate between high and low criminals or demons. Durvāsā Muni was certainly a powerful Brahmin, but his acts against the pure devotee Mahārāja Ambarīṣa were no better than the activities of the asuras. As stated in the Shastras, Dharmam tu shakshad Bhagavan pranitam. The word dharma refers to the orders or laws given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Real dharma is surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, real dharma means bhakti or devotional service to the Lord. The Sudarśana Cakra is here addressed as Dharma Setave, the protector of Dharma. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was a truly religious person, and consequently, for his protection, the Sudarśana Cakra was ready to punish even such a strict Brahmin as Durvāsā Muni, because he acted like a demon. There are demons even in the form of Brahmins. Therefore, the Sudarśana Cakra does not discriminate between Brahman demons and Shudra demons. Anyone against the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees is called a demon. In the Shastras, we find many Brahmins and Kshatriyas who acted as demons and have been described as demons. According to the verdict of the Shastras, one has to be according to his symptoms. If one is born of a Brahman father, but his symptoms are demoniac, he is regarded as a demon. The Sudarśana Cakra is always concerned with annihilating the demons. Therefore, he is described as Adharma Shila Sura Dhumaketave. Those who are not devotees are called Adharma Shila. The Sudarśana Cakra is just like an inauspicious comet for all such demons. Tvatejasa dharma mayena sanghritam tama prakashas chadrisho mahatmanam duratayaste mahima girampate tvarurupametat sarasat paravaram. O Master of Speech, by your effulgence, full of religious principles, the darkness of the world is dissipated, and the knowledge of learned persons or great souls is manifested. Indeed, no one can surpass your effulgence, for all things, manifested and unmanifested, gross and subtle, superior and inferior, are but various forms of you that are manifested by your effulgence. Purport. Without illumination, nothing can be seen, especially in this material world. The illumination in this world emanates from the effulgence of the Sudarshan, the original vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illuminating principles of the sun, the moon, and fire emanate from Sudarshan. Similarly, illumination by knowledge also from Sudarshan, because with the illumination of Sudarshan, one can distinguish one thing from another, the superior from the inferior. Generally, people accept a powerful yogi like Durvāsā Muni as wonderfully superior, but if such a person is chased by the Sudarśana Cakra, we can see his real identity and understand how inferior he is because of his dealings with devotees. Yada visrishtastam ananjanena vai palang pravishto jitadaita danavam bahu daro vanghri shiro dharani vrishchan ajasram pradhane virajase. O indefatigable, that's a hard word. O indefatigable one. Oh God. When you are sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to enter among the soldiers of the Daitas and the Danavas, you stay on the battlefield and unendingly separate their arms, bellies, thighs, legs, and heads. Separate their bellies. Satvam jagatrana kala prahanaye nirupita sarva saho gadabrita viprasya chasmat kuladaiva hetave videhi bhadrang daranugraho hina. O protector of the universe, you are engaged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his all-powerful weapon in killing the envious enemies. For the benefit of our entire dynasty, kindly favor this poor Brahman. This will certainly be a favor for all of us. Yadyasti dattam ishtam va swadharmo va svanushtita kolam na vipradaivam ched tijo bhavatu vijvara. If our family has given charity to the proper persons, if we have performed ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices, if we have properly carried out our occupational duties, and if we have been guided by learned Brahmins, I wish, in exchange, that this Brahman be freed from the burning caused by the Sudarśana Cakra. Yadino Bhagavan Prita Ekasarva Gunashaya Sarva Bhutatma Bhavena Dvijo Bhavatu Vijrara. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second, who is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and who is the life and soul of all living entities, is pleased with us, we wish that this Brahman Durvāsā Muni be freed from the pain of being burned. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Sangstu Vato Ragyo Vishnu Chakram Sudarshanam Ashamyat Sarvato Vipram Pradahar Raja Yachnaya. Shukadev Goswami continued, when the king offered prayers to the Sudarśana Cakra and Lord Vishnu, because of his prayers, the Sudarśana Cakra became peaceful and stopped burning the Brahman known as Durvāsā Muni. It really took a lot of prayers from Ambarīṣa to appease Sudarśana Cakra. Huh? Samukto stragnitapena Durvāsā swastimangstata prashashanksa tam urvisham yunjana paramashishaha. Durvāsā Muni, the greatly powerful mystic, was indeed... Sorry, I just got something in my throat. Listen. Durvāsā Muni, the greatly powerful mystic, was indeed satisfied when freed from the fire of the Sudarśana Cakra. Thus, oh my God, I need to drink some water. One second. Thus, Durvāsā Muni praised the qualities of Mahārāja Ambarīṣa and offered him the highest benedictions. Durvāsā Uvacha Aho anantadasana mahatvam drishtamadhyame kritagasopi yadrajan mangalani samihase. Durvāsā Muni said, my dear king, today I've experienced the greatness of devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for although I have committed an offense, you have prayed for my good fortune. Dushkara ko nusadhunam dushtyajo va mahatmanam yai sangrihito bhagavan sattvatam rishabho hari. For those who have achieved the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of the pure devotees, what is impossible to do and what is impossible to give up? Yan nama shruti matrena puman bhavati nirmala tasya tirtha pada kimva dasanam avashishyate. What is impossible for the servants of the Lord? By the very hearing of his holy name, one is purified. Rajananugihitohang tvayati karunatmana maragham prishtata kritva pranayan me birakshitaha. O king, overlooking my offenses, you have saved my life. Thus I am very much obliged to you because you are so merciful. Rajatam akritahara pratyagamana kankshaya charanav upasangrihya prasadya samabhojayat. Expecting the return of Durvāsā Muni, the king had not taken his food. Therefore, when the sage returned, the king fell at his lotus feet, pleasing him in all respects, and fed him sumptuously. So shitva drittamatnitam atityam sarvakamikam triptatman ripatim praha punjatam iti sadaram. Thus the king respectfully received Durvāsā Muni, who after eating varieties of palatable food was so satisfied that with great affection he requested the king to eat also, saying, Please take your meal. Pritosmyanu grihitosmi tava bhagavatasya vai darshana sparshana lapar atitenatma medasa. Durvāsā Muni said, I am very pleased with you, my dear king. At first, I thought of you as an ordinary human being and accepted your hospitality. But later, I could understand by my own intelligence that you are the most exalted devotee of the Lord. Therefore, simply by seeing you, touching your feet, and talking with you, I have been pleased and have become obliged to you. Purport. It is said, Vaishnavera kriya mudra vigeha na bhujai. Even a very intelligent man cannot understand the activities of a pure Vaishnava. Therefore, because Durvāsā Muni was a great mystic yogi, he first mistook Mahārāja Ambarīṣa for an ordinary human being and wanted to punish him. Such is the mistaken observation of a Vaishnava. When Durvāsā Muni was persecuted by the Sudarśana Cakra, however, his intelligence developed. Therefore, the word Atma Medasa is used to indicate that by his personal experience, he would understand how great a Vaishnava king was. When Durvāsā Muni was chased by the Sudarśana Cakra, he wanted to take shelter of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and he was even able to go to the spiritual world, meet the personality of Godhead, and talk with him face to face. Yet he was unable to be rescued from the attack of the Sudarśana Cakra. Thus, he could understand the influence of a Vaishnava by personal experience. Durvāsā Muni was certainly a great yogi and a very learned Brahmin, but despite his being a real yogi, he was unable to understand the influence of a Vaishnava. Therefore, it is said, Vaishnavera kriya mudra vigeha na bhujai. Even the most learned person cannot understand the value of a Vaishnava. There is always a possibility for so-called jnanis and yogis to be mistaken when studying the character of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava can be understood by how much he is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of his inconceivable activities. Just curious, how many? There are 28 verses in this chapter. Karmavadattametate gayanti svastriyo muhu kirtim parama punyam cha kirtayeshyati bhoriyam. All the blessed women in the heavenly planets will continuously chant about your spotless character at every moment, and the people of this world will also chant your glories continuously. Shishuka uvacha, evam sakirta rajanam durvasa paritoshita yayo vihaya samantrya brahma lokam ahaitukam. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, thus being satisfied in all respects, the great mystic yogi Durvāsā took permission and left, continuously glorifying the king. Through the skyways, he went to Brahmaloka, which is devoid of agnostics and dry philosophical speculators. Ahaitukam, where there's no dry philosophy. Interesting. Purport. Although Durvāsā Muni went back to Brahmaloka through the spaceways, he did not need an airplane, for great mystic yogis can transport themselves from any planet to any other without any machine. There is a planet named Siddhaloka whose inhabitants can go to any other planet because they naturally have all the perfection of yoga practice. Thus, Durvāsā Muni, the great mystic yogi, could go through the skyways to any planet, even to Brahmaloka. In Brahmaloka, everyone is self-realized, and thus there is no need of philosophical speculation to come to the conclusion of the absolute truth. Durvāsā Muni's purpose in going to Brahmaloka was apparently to speak to the residents of Brahmaloka about how powerful a devotee is, and how a devotee can surpass every living entity within this material world. The so-called jnanis and yogis cannot compare to a devotee. Samvatrotagato tavar yavata nagato gata munista darshana kanksho raja bhaksho bhabuvaha. Durvāsā Muni had left the place of Mahārāja Ambarīṣa, and as long as he had not returned, for 1 complete year, the king had fasted, maintaining himself simply by drinking water. Gateta Durvāsasi tsom parisho dvijopayogati pavitram chaharat risher vimoksham vyasanam chaviksha mene swaviryam chaparanubhavam. After 1 year, when Durvāsā Muni had returned, King Ambarīṣa sumptuously fed him all varieties of pure food, and then he himself also ate. When the king saw that the Brahman Durvāsā had been released from the great danger of being burned, he could understand that by the grace of the Lord, he himself was also powerful. But he did not take any credit, for everything had been done by the Lord. Purport. A devotee like Mahārāja Ambarīṣa is certainly always busy in many activities. Of course, this material world is full of dangers that one has to meet. But a devotee, because of his full dependence on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is never disturbed. The vivid example is Mahārāja Ambarīṣa. He was the emperor of the entire world and had many duties to perform. And in the course of these duties, there were many disturbances created by persons like Durvāsā Muni. But the king tolerated everything, patiently depending fully on the mercy of the Lord. The Lord, however, is situated in everyone's heart, sarvasva chaham hridisan nivishta, and he manages things as he desires. Thus, although Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was faced with many disturbances, the Lord, being merciful to him, managed things so nicely that in the end, Durvāsā Muni and Mahārāja Ambarīṣa became great friends and parted cordially on the basis of bhakti yoga. After all, Durvāsā was convinced of the power of bhakti yoga, although he himself was a great mystic yogi. Therefore, as stated by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yoginam atarvesham margatenan taratmana shadavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mata. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. Thus, it is a fact that a devotee is the topmost yogi, as proved in the dealings of Mahārāja Ambarīṣa with Durvāsā Muni. Evam vidanika guna saraja paratmani brahmani vasudeve kriya kalapai samuvaha bhaktin yaya virinchyan nirayans chakara. In this way, because of devotional service, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa, who was endowed with varieties of transcendental qualities, was completely aware of Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus he executed devotional service perfectly. Because of his devotion, he thought even the topmost planet of this material world no better than the hellish planets. An exalted and pure devotee like Mahārāja Ambarīṣa is in full awareness of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In other words, a devotee of Vasudeva Krishna is in full knowledge of the other features of the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is realized in 3 features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahmiti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavan iti shabdate. A devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, knows everything, Vasudeva Saram iti, because Vasudeva, Krishna, includes both Paramatma and Brahman. One does not have to realize Paramatma by the yoga system, for the devotee is always thinking of Vasudeva. The devotee is always thinking of Vasudeva. He's thinking of Vasudeva as the topmost. Yoginam api sarvesham. And as far as Gyan is concerned, if one is a perfect devotee of Vasudeva, he is the greatest Mahatma. Vasudeva Saramiti sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. A Mahatma is one who has full knowledge of the Absolute Truth. Thus, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa, being a devotee of the Personality of Godhead, was in full awareness of Paramatma, Brahman, Maya, the material worlds, the spiritual world, and how things are going on everywhere. Everything was known to him. Yasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati. Because the devotee knows Vasudeva, he knows everything within the creation of Vasudeva. Vasudeva sarvam iti samahatma sadurlabha. Such a devotee does not give much value to the highest standard of happiness within this material world. Narayana parasarve nakutaschana bhibyati swarga pavarganara keshvapi tulyarta darshinaha. Because he is fixed in devotional service, a devotee does not regard any position in the material world as important. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati has therefore written Chaitanya Chandramrita verse 5. Kaivalyam narakayate tridashapur akasha pushpayate durdan tendriya kala sarpa patali protkata dangshtrayate vishram purna sukayate vidimahendra chakitayate yat karunya katakshay bhavatam tam gaurame vastuma. For one who becomes a pure devotee through devotional service to great personalities like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kaivalya, or merging into Brahman, appears no better than hell. As far as the heavenly planets are concerned, to a devotee they are like the phantasmagoria, or the will-o'-the-wisp. And as far as yogic perfection is concerned, a devotee does not care a fig for such perfection, since the purpose of yogic perfection is achieved automatically by the devotee. This is all possible when one becomes a devotee of the Lord through the medium of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ambarīṣa Tanayeshu Rajyam Samanashileshu Visrijadhira Vanam Viveshatmani Vasudeve Mano Dadadhvasta Guna Praha. Srila Shukadev Goswami continued, thereafter, because of his advanced position in devotional life, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa, who no longer desired to live with material things, retired from active family life. He divided his property among his sons, who were equally as qualified, and he himself took the order of Vanaprastha and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully upon Lord Vasudeva. Purport. As a pure devotee, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was liberated in any condition of life because, as enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami, a devotee is always liberated. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nilakasvapyavastasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami thus instructs that one's only desire is service to the Lord. He is liberated in any condition of life. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was undoubtedly liberated in any condition, but as an ideal king, he accepted the Vanaprastha order of retirement from family life. It is essential for one to renounce family responsibilities and fully concentrate on the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Therefore, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa divided the kingdom among his sons and retired from family life. Itte tat punyamakyanam Ambarīṣasya bhupate Sankirtayan anudhyayan bhakto bhagavato bhavet. Anyone who chants this narration or even thinks of this narration of Mahārāja Ambarīṣa certainly becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur herein gives a very good example. When one is very eager for more and more money, he is not satisfied even when he is a millionaire or a multimillionaire, but wants to earn more and more money by any means. The same mentality is present in a devotee. The devotee is never thinking, this is the limit of my devotional service. The more he engages in the service of the Lord, the more service he wants to give. This is the position of a devotee. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa in his family life was certainly a pure devotee, complete in every respect, because his mind and all his senses were engaged in devotional service. Savaimana Krishna Padara Vindayor Vachangshi Vaikunta Gunarnavanane. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was self-satisfied because all of his senses were engaged in devotional service. Sarvapari vinir muktam tatparatena nirmilam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchate. Nonetheless, although Mahārāja Ambarīṣa had engaged all his senses in devotional service, he left his home and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully at the lotus feet of Krishna, exactly as a mercantile man, even though complete in wealth, tries to earn more and more. This mentality of getting more and more engaged in the devotional service puts one in the most exalted position. Whereas on the karma platform, the mercantile man who wants more and more money becomes increasingly bound and entangled, the devotee becomes increasingly liberated. Okay, this is the last verse of this chapter. Ambarīṣa charitam ye shinvanti mahatmana muktim prayanti te sarve bhaktya vishnu prasadataha. By the grace of the Lord, those who hear about the activities of Mahārāja Ambarīṣa, the great devotee, certainly become liberated or become devotees without delay. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 9th canto, 5th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Durvāsā Muni's Life Spared. All right, and so tomorrow, let's see, what are we reading tomorrow? The downfall of Saubhari Muni. We're going to read about the descendants of Ambarīṣa and Ikshvaku, the story of Vikukshi, Shashada, the story of Puranjay, the story of Mandhata, and finally the story of Saubhari Muni. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. That's a very good point, Kishore. Yes, this is all. I mean, Durvāsā is very elevated. He gave Radharani the benediction that it's because of Durvāsā Muni that Radharani cooks for Krishna every day, and this is all Leela, definitely. And Hare Krishna Damodar Prabhu and Shashramaji and Yashji and Vipul and Right. Hari Bol, everybody. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashwatarashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashwatarashata Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashwatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashwatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashwatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Mahā-Bhagavat Shila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadasha Gunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Surup Damodar Raya Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai. Naam Acharya Shila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Ambarīṣa Mahārāja ki Jai. Shri Durvāsā Muni ki Jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bom Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavadaya Namo Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Oh, and for those of you following in the West, you're probably following Akadashi today, right? So, Shri Kamada Akadashi Titiki Jai. Alright, Dandavat Pranams everybody. Wow, Prajumna Prabhu wrote a lot of comments, a lot of really good comments, but okay, I'm gonna go though because they rang the bell a little while ago. So, Dandavat Pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow. Haribo Sukada Didi. Dandavat Pranams. Haribo. Haribo Indira.